Guys, it's me. I'm back.
What's up, party people?
We're like, Mads, come on. All right, this show is taking a turn for the.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Monster Bass Live. Today we're talking about women in fishing. Are they as good as men? I don't know. I mean, we got a great show for you today. It's sponsored to you, brought to you by Liquid Death. So we want to say thank you to them. We got a banger for a show for you today. We got Cupcake Coley as our guest today. We got clips of the week. We got golden tickets. Couple new segments. But first, the trophy room. You know, for a few episodes, I was letting this go to the end, and I thought to myself, no, this is all about celebrating you guys. This is all about celebrating your catches, and so I want to kick the show off from now on with a celebration about you guys, because that's really why we're here. We're here to come together, celebrate catches big and small, and so. If you got a catch that you're proud of, head over to monsterbass.com/pb. Upload your catch, big or small, and if we use it, we're gonna send some stuff out. And before I head over to the trophy room, I do want to let you guys know that everyone that has an AOL account that wrote into me, I did send your packages out, so I hope you get those in a couple days. And it did lead me to do a little bit of research, and it turns out, if you can believe this, 3,593 members of the Monster Bass community actively use an AOL email address. So you're not the minority. You are a significant number, and I want to say thank you for supporting AOL as long as you have. I hope you support us as long as you have too. Let's head over to the trophy room. All right, our first catch today is Peyton. Peyton caught 7 pounds, 5 ounces out of Wisconsin on a Texas rig. Our next one's Tom Massey, 4 pounds, 9 ounces on a Florida swim bait. That's a good little catch. Let's see. Andy caught a 3 pound, 12 ounce on a drop shot, probably a robo worm, because everyone in California loves robo worm, at least for now. Once they get hooked up on Grande Bass, we know what's going to happen. Emily Massey, 3 pounds, 9 ounces on a shiner. Good for you. And last but not least, John, 5 pounds, 8 ounces. I love everything about that picture, even the fluorescent green Guggen Squad measurement system. All right, maybe I don't, but hey, it's all good. It's all good. So it's been a busy week here at Monster Bass. I'm going to try not to cough. For everyone keeping track, I have a doctor's appointment on Friday, so we'll get to the end of this cough one way or the other, hopefully. Again, thank you to Liquid Death, keeping us hydrated. Just as a reminder, you can subscribe to the show anywhere you subscribe to your favorite podcast, Apple, Amazon, Spotify, any of those places, and we're grateful that you do, and so thank you very much for doing so. Little bit of news. Just in time for the holidays, I've got a kids kit that we're creating just for the kids. It'll have some cool stuff. It'll have some sticker books, a little fishing license. It'll have some real lures so that they can fill out their tackle box. But it's also going to come with blanks, lure blanks that you can paint, and we'll give them a guidebook that kind of teaches them about different patterns, like why are we going to paint a craw pattern this month? What's the importance of craw patterns? So it'll be a fun activity for little kids. It's going to make a great gift for you guys to give to the little one. And it's going to be out just in time for the holidays. So we're really excited about that one. And then we've got a countdown coming for the 2025 Seasons Pass. And we are creating a special Seasons Pass for the next fishing season that's going to give you a wide variety of things, not just baits, in your pass. And we're going to be giving you more information about that probably next week. And we're really excited about that as well. I wanted to address some of the emails. I got a lot of emails about my fantasy football team. It was really interesting. Happy to share with you guys that I won last week, despite the fact that Travis Kelce didn't play. He's on a bye week. I think he's at an Olive Garden with Taylor Swift, and I'm hoping that the all-you-can-eat breadsticks isn't going to slow him down when it comes to his on-the-field performance this week, because I'm going to need him to step up. I also took a lot of heat for the USC performance, and I will say that the watch party for Pete Carroll has officially begun. If you're not aware, because you don't care about USC football, Pete Carroll is a professor at USC, and with the way Lincoln Kennedy and the team's playing, I wouldn't be surprised to see a change. So,
Lincoln Kennedy.
Oh, Lincoln Riley. Sorry. All right. But on to my picks for this week, and then we're going to get this show started. So I'm going to give you guys my picks each week, and we'll see how we do at the end of the season. I like Alabama -3 to beat Tennessee. I like Georgia +3.5 at Texas. I like USC to roll Rafi's alma mater, Maryland, by 6. I like the Bills to beat Tennessee by 3, the Eagles to beat the Giants by 3, and the Bengals. Although I feel like this is a trap game. I do like the Bengals to beat Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, there's a team that mortgaged their future for a quarterback that wouldn't make my Pop Warner team. But here we are today. So, like I said, we got a great show for you. And I want to welcome Chris to the show. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm listening. I'm sorry. I'm not savvy with all the football teams, but I'm glad you're bringing that into some light there, because I'm sure we got some followers and friends that are wondering what to pick, and if you can guide them to victory. Do you get some of their winnings? Like, do you win some money if you got this fantasy team?
Yeah, you get bragging rights. You get bragging rights.
So hopefully they give you, if they take your picks and they give you credit. If not, obviously you're throwing your name out there. So maybe they have somebody to blame. So I think it's good. It's good for all. I like it.
Olive Garden. They can take me to the Olive Garden with all their money, and we can get all you can eat breadsticks, because I'm carb loading for the winter.
Dude, Olive Garden's good. That's a good place. Yeah, no, I was actually reading about women in fishing. I was reading there's a club, 140-year-old fly fishing club that just voted this October to allow women for the first time ever over in London. Yeah, process that before we even get into this. But 140-year-old fly fishing club. It's called the Fly Fishers Club. 140 years in Mayfair, London. They just voted this month. The members voted. So these are crusty, dirty dudes for 140 years have not allowed women to fly fish with them. And these clubs are prestigious. Like when you go up to, I go to the Truckee River, and you can only have access to this certain area of the Truckee River if you're part of the San Francisco Fly Fishing Club, even though you can walk in the water and fish the whole stretch or float it. But these clubs have some of the best access to water. And this club, for 140 years, no women were allowed to fish. Their waters are being the club. But anyway, that's maybe a setup for the show. But I was just like, what in the world? Like, so weird. But that's the world we're hopefully understanding how to get past that. But I think it's a good segue to kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I feel like this topic obviously has to hit home. I mean, your wife is no stranger to fishing.
Yeah, no, she's fished. We had a lot of conversations this week, knowing the shows leading up to this, and it's just a whole weird take of. We'll jump right into it. My wife outfishes me often on certain occasions, and it's the one sport, being 6'5", like a foot taller than my wife, physically playing basketball. I've talked about this a little bit. It doesn't really make much sense of her trying to play basketball against me. Yeah. But if you're fishing, my wife is super competitive, and I love competing, but it is a sport. Rafi said it best. It's like having a chess tournament set up where women can't participate in chess against men is kind of like saying women can't participate in fishing against men. There's no gender barrier in the sport of fishing other than dedicated access of generations. And we can talk about that later because that's a big hindrance for women as they just haven't been fishing for a lot of generations. But physically right now, clean slate, a young boy brought into the world, a young girl, they both can fish just as good. And oftentimes we can get into the psychology behind it, maybe better.
I don't know.
Quite
I mean, the founding fathers of fly fishing have been doing it for the same way for a long time. So
they're terrible. Like, I mean, honestly, like for guys to fish as long as they have, and for women just to step into this sport and actually be dominating in certain genres, like maybe guys aren't that good. Maybe we're stuck in our ways, but things are changing. I mean, I want to talk about. I can't wait to get Coley's perspective. My wife specifically has some insights, and we can talk about those when we get our guest on, because when she tells women she fishes, that's one of my most fascinating things. And I want to, before I even share what Kelly shares, just simply in a conversation, whether it's moms at a school or if you're in a supermarket, and the idea that a woman fishes comes up and the response that another woman gives them, fascinating on the top responses. So you can imagine, like when you tell somebody, what's just as a guy, you know, we have no women on the show, but as a guy, and you tell somebody like you go fish, what kind of responses do you get? Or, hey, I own a fishing company, I'm going fishing with a guide tomorrow or whatever. What's the standard response that you seem to get from people?
I mean, they think it's cool. Like they're like, that's cool. You get to go fishing, and you know, you're not in an office, and you get to go out and have a good time.
Right. So I'll share one of my wife's top responses from a lot of women is, "Ew." Like, ooh, like the word "ooh" actually comes out like, I go, yeah, you know, Chris and I, we go fishing quite often. Ew, like in disgust. And I don't know if that's learned behavior. I will before we get into the rest of the show. There was a Hallmark show that Kelly watched, and the whole show, and this is the basis of I think where society's gone. Kelly was frustrated. I'm not going to say mad, whatever, but it was a Hallmark mystery show. And the whole idea was this guy wanted to go fish. And his dream was to go on a lake to go fish. And the whole show is about the woman in his life getting him to not fish. And she's like, what a messed up message to share. And they got on the boat, and he's not fishing. And I guess he wasn't very happy. And she's like, see, isn't it just nice to just be outside without a rod in your hand? And like talking down the activity of fishing the whole time. And almost in a way of like made for men, made for women, whatever, Hallmark. I'm going to say there's probably more women that watch Hallmark, even though I can admit I watch Hallmark. But it was just derogatory towards the sport, which then immediately that arms women with the same idea of like, okay, it's okay to attack fishing. Like maybe it's a bad activity or it's gross or whatever. But anyway, that's kind of my basis. Like I talk about this forever. Huge passion. Women in sports, I've shared before, 2,800 years, they weren't allowed to participate in the Olympics. Like understanding where we've come from to where we are now. I'm going to do a shameless plug from some friends. Pescavore Seafood. I talk about that specifically because Clarice, a woman, owns a company that supports female anglers, sources sustainable seafood practices, and is all over the world as an ambassador for females involved in the sport of fishing. We've come a long way, but we still have a lot of work to do. But man, let's get Coley on here, because this is a topic I don't think we can talk about enough. Before the show, I typed in on AI, why do more women not fish? AI nailed it.
Ooh.
It's pretty interesting. So they crushed it. But I'll save some of that for when Coley gets on here, because I'd love to hear from a female perspective. We're just two dudes chatting about women in sport. Yeah. But hey, I think having female, they should be fishing like a girl. We'll talk about that topic, because I think that's a really great name for the show and why we kind of chose that. But
all right,
man, I could ramble on forever about this. This is fun.
Sure. All right. So today, our guest today is been part of Monster Bass for a while. She's a Grande Bass ambassador. She went to ICAST with Rafi. So let's give a big show welcome to Cupcake Coley. How's it going?
Hi, everyone. I'm great. How are you doing?
Doing great. Should I call you Cupcake?
You call me whatever you want, Rick.
Well, I don't know. I mean, if I've got HR rolling around, I got to make sure that like I'm calling you what you want to be called by. So
a lot of people call me Cupcake. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah. So, how does it feel to be in a male-dominated sport?
I'm a bartender, which I think you guys are aware of. And when I started bartending, women in Orange County were not allowed behind the bar in the nightclubs. We were morning bartenders, we were happy hour bartenders, but you did not see us at night in the club, period. And I went on interview after interview for years where they laughed in my face and they were like, oh no, you'll be a great happy hour bartender. So this is nothing new to me. I learned in that career that you have to keep your head down and you earn your spot and you just prove to everyone that you deserve to be there just as much as they do. And as you can see now in Orange County, LA, Vegas, New York, all of the big cities, I mean, it's predominantly a female industry for bartenders. Like they're a hot commodity, and we have been for a very long time. But you just kind of have to. It is what it is, and you just kind of have to. For me, I just kind of have to show to everyone that I deserve to be here, and that I still have a lot to learn. And I will ask a bajillion questions if I fish with you because that's the only way I am going to learn. So it never really bothered me. It was kind of the norm for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Do you think that brands look at women differently than they do men?
I mean, absolutely, because for the most part, there weren't women that you saw on social media or in the magazines or the things winning the tournaments. It was men. So if you have something new where people are actually catching fish, catching big fish, and the women out there these days, they're crushing it, you guys. There's so many that are just absolutely crushing it. Even from when I started back in 2018, the huge change that I have seen. So I do think that women have an advantage in that. I just hope that everyone tends to represent women the way that we need to be represented and not just that sex sells, that we actually have skill and that we do know what we're doing in a lot of times, I mean, I still have a lot to learn. I can't say that I'm that I'm as good as maybe Chris is yet, but to his point earlier, Kelly kills it. Like I love to see the banter between them, and I love to see the competition, and I love it when she holds up a fish that's a couple inches bigger than his. It's fun.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
not that fun. No, it's not good.
and,
No,
and,
so you touched right on, Rick. You said marketing companies. That was the first thing the AI came up with. Like I typed in, like, why are we not, like I'll actually, I put, why don't more women fish? And the AI response number one was marketing. Fishing is often marketed towards men and can cultivate a sense of masculinity around control, dominance. It kind of went crazy, like this technical competency. It's been fostered in men and taught to men and handed to men on purpose by companies in control of that. And I think that's that education piece. You talk about being a bartender. When did the bartender thing change? Like, do you remember what year that was?
um, Golly, I don't even remember when I started. Plus, that would give away my age, so we're just going to
Okay, so
ignore
wait,
that.
never mind.
But it was in the 90s for sure.
No,
And it was probably like my third or fourth year bartending because every interview you had to have at least 3 to 5 years experience. But like I said, being a woman, they were just like happy hour or the morning bartender. That's it. And I would get laughed at too.
no, it's interesting because I wish I knew her name, but the first architect that went to school, like she sat in the hallway, I guess, and I may be wrong on some of this, but she had to sit in the hallway at college to earn the degree to be an architect as a female. And you think that's not that long ago that these things happen. And so this evolutionary change, the empowering women, like I'm from outdoor sport activities, and so you get these half marathons, triathlon, running races. And for a while, it was like 20% women, 30% women. And now it's like, oh, 70% women. And then you have literally like Run Like a Girl and all these things that are fostering women to be out and like just participating in sports alone. They're taking over the market in a lot of those events. And it's interesting to think of fishing. When I think of college fishing, I think, oh, it's just a bunch of dudes on the boats. But if you start to research college fishing, some of the best teams now have girls on their teams. And
yeah.
so that's going to be a generational change starting right now. I mean, that's that thing is like you're the forefront of this is you're making it seem normal to fish where it's just not been normal. I think that's this weird thing of like this patriarchal weird society that we live in that why is it not normal for a girl to go along with her family to fish and why let me ask you this. What's the normal response if you meet someone, say you're bartending and you're like, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And you say you're going fishing. What's the response guys give you versus girls? Because I think that's a it's an interesting take on what is a guy's response that says you go fishing first, and then, hey, I'm going to go fishing, and how does your standard female, and you can categorize them however you want. I just want a broad, because I don't want to this show people like, oh, they're categorizing women this broad spectrum. What's the standard response you get?
Hands down, every single time, regardless of age, when it comes to a man, if I say I fish or I'm going fishing, the first thing they do is they say, "You fish?" And I say, "Yeah." And then they say, "You fish?"
So messed
And I
up.
say, "Yeah, I do." And they're like, "Well, what do you fish for?" When I say largemouth is what I target the most, they're like, "Wait, you fish?" I mean, it's every single time. It's at least 3 times I have to say it. And sometimes people will be like, "Oh, well, I fish too." And it's super fun when I'm busy at a concert and I whip out my phone and we're comparing pictures. Like, what's your PB? Let me see your PB. But I got a line of like 50 people behind him. But I'm like, that doesn't matter right now. Like, let's just see who has the biggest PB. Because I'm very competitive and I have 2 older brothers, and I think that's where that comes from. But with women, it's not really a topic so much unless I know it's somebody from the outdoors world. Like I don't start out with I fish because the common response is going to be like, "Ew, why do you do that?" And
That's why
most of the
I let off with that. That was the thing. Like Kelly shared, like, do you like it? Do you, why? Is like a real big
yeah,
response to Kelly. Like, why? She's like, because it's fun. I'm outside. I'm having like I'm engaged in an activity that I can actually feed my family. Like if we go fishing in a distance, it's like it's not catch and release always. It's like go to the ocean, catch a fish, and eat it. Like Kelly likes to eat fish, and so I think that's this weird. It's just you nailed it with men is the disbelief of men. Like every one of those guys should physically be slapped, and it's not their fault that they're raised in that environment and a misunderstanding of what a woman can do, can't do, should do, shouldn't do, whatever. But to be trapped in that mindset of like, you fish, and then to have you say yes, and then to ask you again, like, what a disservice as a human. It's like, smack those guys. But anyway,
you know, and I see where you're going with that. But like I said, I've dealt with it for so long in the bartending world, being behind the bar. Like I have been tipped less. I have been
Tip.
set
Wait,
aside,
wait,
not
wait, wait.
included.
Tip,
So
tip
it's no
less.
tipped less. Yeah. So I was the second female bartender to ever work the Playboy Mansion in the history of the Playboy Mansion because it was such a physical, hard job, and women point blank were not allowed to work behind the bar. And I remember it was my second shift New Year's Eve, and I made $50. We didn't make a lot of money in tips because it was a private party. You don't bring money to your friend's private party for New Year's Eve, right? So we didn't make very much money. That's fine. I made $50, and the boys made $150. And I knew, and I didn't say anything. And my boss came up and he said, "How much did you make?" I said, "I made 50." He goes, "That's not right." And I said, "I know." He goes, "Let me say something." I said, "Please do me a favor. Don't say anything. Like, just let me earn my way. Let me show that I can do this and that I can stick it out with the rest of them." Well, within a matter of months, they were all fired for various different reasons, and your girl was still there and stayed there for 13 years until I left. So it doesn't bother me in the sense where some people may be offended. I laugh, I smile. Guys come up wearing the Bass Pro hat, when I'm at work, and the first thing I say is, "Hey, you actually fish?" "Oh no."
No.
I'm like, "So you're a poser." So that's like
Yeah.
my thing that I do, because it's like they don't fish, they don't hunt. It's like, why are you wearing the hat? Because it's trendy. So I kind of give it back to them a little bit too.
Fair enough. Fair
it's
enough.
awesome.
So what are your thoughts on girls that are fishing in bikinis?
Catch the fish. More power to you. Show it. Just catch the fish. Don't hold it. Don't wear the bra, the bikini fish bra, just let me see you catch a fish. Like that's what I'm here for. I'm here to see what you can do, what you can prove. And it's great that you work out and you have a great body. I have nothing against that, but just catch the fish. That's all
Yeah,
I want to see.
but don't you think that keeps us back in the Stone Ages, right? Like there's obviously, like you said, like Chris said before, there's a club that hasn't allowed women to fish in it for 120 years or something. Like, aren't we as a society holding women back when this happens and by enabling it?
I mean, look, before I had any Before I had more than 1,000 followers, I fished in a bathing suit all the time because I'm in Michigan, I'm in Oklahoma, I'm in Texas, I'm in Southern California. It's hot, y'all. It's hot. So I would fish in a bathing suit, not necessarily a bikini, but a one piece. But I had no problems with it until I got about 1,000 followers, and I was like, I don't want I don't want people to think that I'm, just doing it for likes and views. I'm actually doing it because I'm 100% passionate about fishing, and it happens to be 105 degrees where I'm fishing at. So, I, I mean, there's a lot of really, really good female anglers that still fish in bikinis and bathing suits. So I'm not going to sit here and say that I disagree with it, because to each their own. As long as they're catching the fish and it's not just hey, Rick, catch this fish so I can hold it up and,
Right.
get 10,000 likes on it.
Sure.
That kind of stuff I'm not for.
And do
Yeah,
you
I mean,
think?
I can't really voice in this because I'm the dude sitting off to the side, but I do have a beautiful wife. And it's one of those things of like being a fishing model, being a fishing angler. Like, I think there's this weird line of like, we're even having this discussion. I want it to be, it should be a little bit controversial. If we live in a society that says they have to fish in clothing, that's a problem. That's terrible. To say you can only fish if you're wearing a flannel, which I'm wearing a flannel. Okay. So
Yeah.
if we live in that world, that's equally as messed up. To empower somebody to say, you go and fish, you fish however you want. The other flip side I like to bring out is I think it's hilarious that people are mad that people hold up a fish that they didn't catch. That is so funny to me. That's like being mad at a woman that holds up perfume that's a model. So I like
I
to
don't
bring
know.
that up of like it doesn't
It's
matter if a
different,
person
Chris.
no, so here's the thing is it everyone thinks it's different. Here's what's fun. I'm not saying that model is holding a fish and is teaching a person how to fish. They're simply having a picture that somebody likes to look at. That's their choice and people can follow that. If you're saying I am great at fishing and I'm going to give you the information with this certain technique, I think it's super fun to have this confrontational idea of like, oh my gosh, it's so wrong for somebody to hold a fish. They're a model. They're getting likes for being a model, and for us to live in a world that we're judging that model less than a person that knows how to fish, it's this weird mixed line of, is fishing about competition, is fishing about being outside, is fishing about whatever fishing is. And then you have this weird thing is like, who cares if somebody's a model? What do they do? What quantifies a person to become a model? So there's that gray area of like misrepresentation and saying I caught this fish, or I happen to be on a charter boat and I hold up other people's fish and I get attention. I'm the kind of person, like, if that's what they want to do and that's what they're getting a following, so be it. If a brand uses that model to promote their brand, which this is the fun part, is that happened. And there's stories of women that could not really fish and brands use them to bolster their brand. That's egg on their face when that comes out. I think that's the beauty of having all those things happen. But if somebody wants to get known because they work out or they hold a fish or whatever, like, I'm like, whatever, let that filter out at the end of the day. But it sounds like it resonates a little bit different with you. And I love that, Coley, that it's like having that thing is like, it's that weird part is like, oh my gosh, they're more popular or more famous, so they might get more endorsements than me. And I actually know how to fish. I always think it's funny. It's like if a dude is super sexy and takes his shirt off and he looks like a Chippendale dancer and he's holding a fish and gets famous for that, I'm like, bro, more power to me. Like what exactly, what steroids do you take? Cause I think I should maybe consider eating what you're eating and following your workout. So I just think it's funny how we all build these things of like, what's right or what's wrong, where at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. I don't know any fish models that make a living off of holding up a fish. And I think that whether we think that's a shallow response or we think that's not right, I just don't know at the end of the day. If they're happy for doing that, I'm not going to sit back and judge them. So
I
I
don't
think that's
I don't see anything wrong with people holding up a fish that they didn't catch. I think we got to go back a little bit to being a fish model. If a company is using, let's just say, Cindy for a bikini or for
sorry, Cindy's
the
of the
boots
world, but
that
yeah,
she's
keep going.
wearing or whatever she's wearing, then 100% absolutely. But if you are presenting yourself and your page and your person to be this excellent angler, and all you're doing is holding up other people's fish, that's where it's deceiving to me. And when
Agreed.
I started doing this, I literally was just posting the big fish that I was catching. I think I started back in 2016 and it was on earthworms. Like, who doesn't use night crawlers when they first start, right? And I just posted a couple pictures here and there. And it wasn't for anything other than this is what I like to do. But as I started seeing that people were taking me a little bit more seriously, I was like, you know what? I really need to learn how to fish with artificial. And I remember that first day that I caught my artificial fish, it was like, that was a huge accomplishment for me, because it's like now everyone can take me seriously that I was fishing with.
Mm.
And with these girls, if you're selling yourself, right? Because everyone in that's an influencer is selling something, whether it's themselves as a model or the product that they are advertising. I have no problem with that, but don't just be organic. Just present yourself to be honest and truthful. For me, that's how I started. And I remember I was told by a very good friend of mine when I very first started the fishing page back in 2018. And he said, you're never going to be able to do this on your own. You're never going to grow organically. You're going to have to buy followers. You're going to and I was like, so be it. If I don't ever make it, then that's okay, because this is my passion. This is what I do, whether I'm on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, which I'm on all of those, and Threads. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to do what I do every single chance I get, because I love what I do. And if I get an endorsement from it, if I get to work with Monster Bass and I get to work with Grande Bass and the various different things because of it, then good for me. Like, I've worked hard to get there. All I'm saying is that go do you, boo. Like, you want to
Yeah.
show your body? Absolutely. You want to catch a fish and show that you're catching a fish in a thong? Like, how do you keep everything in? Like, that impresses me, you know? But when you're holding up, because that's a problem, when you're holding up a fish and you're pretending like you caught it and you have this whole paragraph of, oh, I use this, and that, but you never
Right.
see them actually catch a fish.
Yeah,
I'm not
I don't.
mad
I
at them.
when I
Just
yeah,
don't
that's
appreciate it.
Yeah.
no. I think you nailed it. I don't know. It would be funny to have that panel of discussion with people like who goes to a models page to find out how to fish. I don't think that's really happening in the world. I think it's funny, like the discredit if a model is just holding up somebody else's fish and they're trying to tell people how they caught it. If people are that uneducated and buy into that, like shame on them, but like really that's kind of that's ironically funny because I don't know if that's actually in the world happening. Certain influencers teaching, you may have some insight to that, but I think that's that whole thing is at the same time like pretending to be something you're not, pretending to live outside of like what the narrative is of only showing the good things. That's where the whole social media discussion falls into this weird trap. I'm here that this is what I don't want ever to happen is if a woman, it is so much harder to be a woman in the world, I say at times, just of how you're scrutinized, of how you're looking. And this is this like raising a daughter and this deal of my wife gets criticized because her hair's not messy enough from the women in the fishing world because, oh, I have boat hair, I just don't care, and anybody that has their hair looking nice, like that's fake. It's like, oh wow, because she chose to comb her hair because it's not
Yeah,
windy, like because she looks pretty when she fishes, but at the same time it's not pretend. Like my wife's beautiful, like she should
she's
just be a
stunning.
model, for heaven's sakes, like that could be her job, but she doesn't even like the limelight. But
Mm.
that's the whole irony to see it from that flip side is like there should be no penalty whether a person looks a certain way, acts a certain way. Like I just think it's funny to have this forum, like anybody can fish however they want, but to
As
have the
long as
pressures from society of women, like do you feel that when you fish? Like are you how you seem to have like dealt with this long enough that you don't seem to have much pressure on you to perform or to look a certain way. Do you feel like you have more pressure on you than men though?
I, No, because like I said, I grew up with two older brothers. The majority of my friends are men. The close female friends that I have, none of them are here in Southern California. They're all in different states. They fish. So, I mean, I think I've proven on my page that I can be a hot mess some days. Like, I'm not always like I have my hair combed and I don't really care because it's me and I show all the dinks that I catch and I catch a lot of dinks. I catch a lot of big fish. I mean, am I catching 5, 6, 7 pounders? No, but when I do catch a 3 or 4 pounder, I'm super proud of it and hold it up and get excited. But I'm right there holding up my dinks. And if I got a little piece of peanut butter stuck in my teeth from my peanut butter and jelly uncrustables, like, oops, sorry, like it's there. It's me.
yeah.
I'm real. And uh, I don't know what other people feel as far as the pressure, but I think for me, if I were to fish with you, Chris, and when I fish with you, Rick, I get really nervous. I get really intimidated, and it goes back to being a young girl. And I was always extremely athletic. I knew that I had the ability to do anything I set my mind to, but I didn't want to be the last one picked on the team.
Mm.
And when I get on the boat, no matter who I'm fishing with, even if I know that I might be equal or better, or They are like way better than me. It's just like, I don't want to make a mistake. I don't want to not catch a fish. That's the pressure. And it comes from me. It doesn't come from anyone else.
That's you. That's a segue into a question I had even listed to ask you. You just answered it. Performance pressure versus what you look like pressure. You still have the same, like that's an interesting concept of people to not understand. It's like the model token buff guy wants to go out and look a certain way, whether he's fishing or doing whatever. But now you're basing your pressure on performance of actually producing fish,
100%.
catching fish. It's just weird how all of us, I love the psychology behind that is we all find something to obsess over. We all find something we want to be good at. Yours is not so much of how you look while you're fishing. Yours is more invested in wanting to perform a certain way while you're fishing. And that's that value for people to understand is like, what makes a better angler? To not get way too far into it, but this is the reality of understanding your fishing level for you. You're talking about sharing dinks and not knowing as much. The anomaly of being a woman angler is still special. And I think that's a unique thing to understand the world we're in right now. To find competent female anglers in the spectrum of how many men are pretty competent at the sport. There's a lot, but really in the same sense, there's not a lot of women that are competent to successfully go out and fish in comparison to how many men fish. And that's the reality of showcasing your story. It's like, find a woman that can catch a fish. But I go all the time. Like I'll go fly fishing somewhere and I'll go down the river. No women. I go out to the lake, go fishing all the time, meet people. Oh, I'd love to fish that are women. I just came off the boat the other day. The mom is watching her two boys. She's like, oh, I'd love to fish. I'm like, why are you not fishing? It's the same response of like the guys are giving you like, you fish. It's like, yeah, women can fish. That's my whole thing. Is like, and if a woman wants to worry about how she looks, let her worry about how she looks. If a woman wants to worry about how she fishes, if they're going to do anything to support females fishing, like let them, like you said it perfectly. Go do your thing. Go fish. Just get outside for heaven's sakes, hold a fishing rod. But it's an interesting concept of how yours is performance based from a competitive nature of probably having those older brothers. My daughter has 5 older brothers and they all know how to fish. And it's funny because she used to fish so much when she was young and now she's in a transition. I shared a quote because I would email myself funny things she would say. And when she got a little older, she once said, I hope I don't screw this up, but I screw it up all the time, said something like, I like school less than I like fishing, and I hate fishing. So she was referencing not wanting to go to school in a reference and a dig about how bad she hated fishing. And I'm always like, I have so many pictures of you having fun when you were young. What happened? I can reference my sister-in-law when she would camp. I used to take her fishing when she was like 10, 11, 12 years old. And now she's older. I don't even know if she would go fishing. And so there's that weird thing of that transition in life. And why is society still that way? Why are those guys asking you, why do you fish? And my thing from today, like we'll talk about this for a while, but like, how do we fix it? What's your thought? How do we make the playing field better? One is you obviously doing what you're doing, but do you actively recruit people into the fishing cult as women? Do you like engaging women? Like, come on and come fish. Do you do that quite a bit? Or is that not something you're involved in?
No, because the close friends that I have are my friends from preschool and grade school. I'm my 2 best friends. One I met at 3 years old, and the other one I met at 12 years old. The one that I met when I was 12, she lives in Michigan and she does fish. So when we are there at the same time, we will fish together. She's not as into it as I am, but she still likes it. The females that I am around here in Southern California, they're just not interested. It's just not their thing. I mean, prior to fishing, I was addicted to hiking and I would hike 5 miles 3 times a week. And there wasn't a lot of women that wanted to do that with me either. I had 2 that would go with me. So I just kind of, it's something that I do for me. If somebody said I would love to go, I would absolutely take them. But when you're looking at teaching someone how to fish for the first time, like you're not going to catch the first time usually, right? So it's a little challenging because people think, oh, I'm going to go fishing with Coley and I'm going to catch a 5-pounder. No, you'll be lucky if you catch a bluegill because you don't know what you're doing and I'm going to try to teach you. So I'm not really recruiting, but my friend in Oklahoma, that used to be from California. She moved to Oklahoma. I go out there every year to fish with her and her son, which I took under my wing when he was 6 and got him into bass fishing. She has like studied bass fishing. She grew up a trout fisherman. She is like learning so much stuff, watching YouTube, commenting, asking me questions. And it's been so much more fun to go to Oklahoma to see that passion in her and to see her with her backwards hat on, and she's out fishing me. Last time I went to Oklahoma, I think she caught a 4-pounder and my biggest fish was like 2. So that was pretty awesome to see, but I'm not actively trying to recruit it. I like my time fishing alone. I love fishing with other people, but that peace and quiet, working in a music hall, a venue, I work in 2 different large venues, one with a 22,000 person capacity and the other one is a 6,000 person capacity. And that EDM music and that junk that's just so loud, like I get out on the water, there's no music, it's the birds chirping, it's the frogs croaking, it's the splash of a big fish. Like that's what I'm doing it for. So if somebody wants to go, I would take them, but no, I do have a recent friend on the kayak that I've been kayak fishing with, and that has been so much fun.
And so when you do go fishing, do you have to qualify your request since you're not fishing with a lot of women? When you reach out to men and say, hey, you want to go fishing, do you have to qualify that request?
I never reach out to men and ask them to take me fishing ever.
Because?
If it's a friend that I've already fished with, I will say, hey, we should fish soon. But I never will randomly hit up someone that I know or someone that is on Instagram and say, take me fishing, because unfortunately, there's always something looming in the background. And no matter how many times I say, I just want to fish, it's just fishing. I just want to fish. I can bring up, I have a boyfriend, I'm seeing someone, my boyfriend's cool with it. Is your wife cool with it? No matter what I bring up, they don't hear it. And it's a bummer.
So
So
oh man, that's tough. Like I mean, I can tell you, I had so many jokes I was going to pop off, and luckily Rafi's not on here. It's like, hey Rick, let's go fishing, and this isn't just about fishing, you know what I mean? So it's just these ironic pieces that we can try to joke about, but like what an awful thing to have to experience, and understanding like, can a woman just go fish? Like, can a woman just like to be outside? Can she go backpacking? Can't she ride a motorcycle? Like all these things that society's just, the cool thing is we're on a path to where things can be better and become normal. What's your dream trip? If you had a dream, are there, like, there's a lot of influencers that get together fishing, like women trips. Do you have like, what's your top 4 people? If you could put a boat of like 4 people, who would you want to go fish with?
Well, one of them I've already fished with. I've actually met up with, I think 14 or 16 Instagram females and males to fish with. My goal is to go through my list of friends that I have and fish with all of them. Texas Bass Babe, Tiffany Leal. She fishes MLF. She is just a huge inspiration. She's my bestie. Love that girl to death. I would like to go fishing with her. Stephanie, I'm going to butcher her last name, Hemperfill. I wrote it down because I always say it. She fishes for the National Fishing League, I believe. I absolutely adore her. Got to meet her at ICAST. She's an absolute hammer. Probably, I'm trying to remember. There's a couple gals I met in Florida. It's slipping my mind right now, but they're not the people you would think. It's people that I connect with, that have the passion for fishing. People like your wife, Kelly, I think is amazing. She not only is she stunning, but that has nothing to do with it. She's stunning. She's a mom of 6, I believe. She is a woman of faith, which I absolutely love and adore that. And she's not afraid to share that. Like Stephanie's not afraid to share that. Christine Fisher would also be on that boat. She's also someone who's not afraid to share that. I like women who aren't afraid to stand up for what they believe in and not afraid to share. Do I think that we need to stand up on a soapbox and preach politics, religion? No, absolutely not. But people that aren't afraid to share and that have the same passion I share, oh my God, that trip would just be absolutely amazing. That would be so much fun.
So how do we make that happen?
So I was going to say, like, that. This could come up. You're open offer to come up and fish here anytime. So if you get up to Northern California,
I would love
boats
to.
open. We got kayaks, whatever. But I think that's that thing of like going fishing. I think sometimes people think the pressure, and I'll just speak from my situation. Like I go fishing with Kelly. We both can talk about fishing techniques or whatever, but that's never really even the conversation, even when I'm with guys. like very seldom is it all about, we're fishing as hard as we can to catch fish, but how fun it is to have the camaraderie of talking about current situations or whatever. Like my wife is, she's such a knowledgeable person about health. And so we're always talking about current health things and different food stuff. And like you talk about, we're raising kids or feminine things that we're taught. Like I openly am engaged in learning as much as I can. And it's like all of these conversations that are so fun. I'm sure you have that experience. When you go fishing, are you all fishing all day, or do you kind of have that thing where you're fishing and having fun and it's not just fishing?
Oh, if I'm fishing, I'm absolutely having a blast. Like, there's no question about it. I actually did get to go on a trip last year with my friend from Oklahoma, Holly, and then Tina Trout fished with me. She is in Arkansas, and then Arkansas outdoors woman, Tracy. The four of us put together a fishing trip, and we went spoonbill fishing. So much fun, and to be in this one bedroom cabin on the lake with
Cool.
two women that we didn't know other than me knowing them through Instagram. And Tracy, I didn't know that well. I just knew Tina for a few years. I can't even put into words. Like, it was like we were friends for years. It was like we didn't meet online. We weren't Instagram fishing people. It was like four women of various different ages all came together with one passion. And Holly and I had no idea what to expect spoonbill fishing. Like, we looked it up, but we were like, I don't know what's going to go on. And when I hooked into my first one that I think was 40 pounds,
Whoa.
and that was the smallest one of the entire trip, the excitement and the joy that was expressed not only by me, but by my teammates on the boat and by the guide that took us out. I've never had that before. So to be able to like share that like joy from another woman that wasn't someone that was my best friend like Holly was at the time, like that was just like they were cheering me on. And then of course I had to make it a competition because it took me, I have a back injury, so it took me 4.5 minutes to get it in. And it was all about, I got to beat my time. I got to beat my time. And then I had to beat everybody else's time. And I think I got my last one at 60 pounds, which again was a medium size compared to the other gals. It took me 1 minute and 23 seconds, I think. And for me, it's about bragging rights. It's about smack talking. Fishing, I will smack talk all day long. Chris, if I come fish with you and I think you're going to kick my butt in it, I will start out the gate smack talking because it's just fun.
Yeah,
no, I Kelly always makes me not post. Like I have some funny things, like just obviously she mocks my fish. Oh, it's finally you got to catch a fish. And I have all these recordings and she's like, I sound so bratty. I can't, don't share that. She's like, that's just reserved for you. And I'm just like, if the world could just hear the banter of what's going on. And that's the joy I have as like fishing truly with my best friend, but also a person that does look like a model. Like I'm in this weird situation of like, okay, this life is so, it's almost like a fake world that I live in experience. But with the fishing, can I ask, what's your end? Is there an end goal? Because I think that's an interesting piece of like people, like they have these boxes they want to check. Sounds like you're just really enjoying the experience right now, but do you have an end goal? Do you want to fish on tour? What's the goal, the lofty Coley 5 years down the road of fishing?
I've been trying to figure that out. So I absolutely think that I would love and enjoy doing tournament fishing. However, being a bartender, most of our work is Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. So that doesn't allow much time for me to pre-shift. The money that's involved in doing it, you know, for me, because I don't get sick pay or paid leave, every time I go on vacation, it's not just, okay, it's going to cost me $1,000 to go to Texas. I have to think about, okay, I took these 3 nights off, so that's $2,500 plus this, plus that. So a simple 3-day trip somewhere is twice as much because I don't get to say, hey, I want a vacation day and I want to get paid my normal hourly plus my tips. So I would love to end up somewhere in fishing as a career. I would love to say peace out to bartending. It's been a good run. And I would love to see myself, whether it's educating, selling, promoting. I'm good with kids. I'm good with people. I can talk a lot clearly. Whatever I can do to share my passion, I would love to see something down the road that way. And then if I did that, maybe that would open up the doors to be able to try tournament fishing. But for right now, financially, it's just not an option for me.
No, I think that's understanding sports, understanding the superheroes that we all have, and Rick's talking about football and his picks and having basketball. I watch a lot of the, I don't even know what you call them, but like the shows that are on Netflix that talk, they show the behind the scenes of like, there's the new starting five, the basketball one. It's awesome. It's the five best players in the world. To have a woman excel at the pinnacle of fishing is what we're still missing. And that's just the reality for the young girls. We saw it with soccer, and all of a sudden the women's soccer team, like who doesn't know the story of the women's soccer team and that success? And then all of a sudden women in tennis, and we have these icons. Now all of a sudden you have generations growing up seeing that high level of successes. I want to be that. I think that's still what we're missing in fishing. I think Bassmaster Her is trying to go that route. We have some young female anglers that just got some Toyota trucks, and they're being helped being on the tour, and they're being sponsored, which is kind of nurturing in this building and what we all need. But we're still missing that piece where a woman is excelling. I went so far as like, oh my gosh, we need to figure out a way to start a women's league. And then I was so naive. I didn't even know there was a women's fishing league. Like, how cool is that to have a fishing space that's healthy, organic, safe space, women to nurture it? But then Kelly is always like, I don't want to fish against just women. Like, I want to prove that I'm better than the guys. But understanding thousands of years, women haven't had the chance to even fish. That's the thing, is we have to get past that. Like, to not have this whole generational experience of growing up wanting to be a pro. It's weird to not fix that and to be engaged in that. But I'm more like, all right, let's just.
But aren't we?
It's just a bummer.
Aren't we just like proliferating the problem? Like at the end of the day, Bassmaster Her. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna create, like, we started off with a chess league for men versus women. Like, why do we need to have a bass fishing league for women? By doing that, we're saying that men are better than women.
No, I think what they're saying is women haven't had the opportunity. We need to nurture.
So give them the same opportunity. We don't need to nurture
them.
Yeah. Because
I feel the same way. Like, Bassmaster is doing a really, really an amazing job right now, and I'm disappointed that I didn't make my way over there during ICAST. There was so much going on, and there was so much to see, but I spent my time at the booth, and I spent my time trying to meet up with the people that I was already engaged with, because I wanted to actually see that friendship in person. The next opportunity I get, I will definitely make my way over there and introduce myself, because I think they're amazing. Lady Slayers is put on by Live Nation, and I want to say it was 2019 and 2020, I think, when I joined the Lady Slayers. And I was fairly new to fishing, meaning I had been fishing since 2016, became really, really active and hardcore on it, if you will, in 2018. And Tiffany Leal reached out to me and said, I'm going to do this. You want to do it? I said, I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to do any kind of like lady tournament, like, you know how girls can be. And she's like, come on, let's do it. And I can tell you right now that I have met 4 or 5 ladies from there that I am still friends with, that 4 out of the 5 I've met and fished with in person. The camaraderie and the support, even though we were competing against each other, was something that I hadn't ever seen before. Again, growing up, having most of my friends be men, because my 2 older brothers are much older than me. So when we did water ski trips and snow ski trips and all the things where you get to take a friend, I didn't get to take a friend because all my friends were guys. And the 2 girlfriends that were my closest, they weren't athletic. So it became this thing where these women were cheering me on. They were rooting for me, and they were like, oh, you're kicking my butt. Or I'm like, oh, you're doing fantastic. We only need 3 more fish. And we would fish literally from lines in the soonest chance we got until lines out. And I remember it being like 8:00 on a Sunday night, and I couldn't even tie my drop shot on because I couldn't see straight. It was 95 degrees. I was hungry. I was thirsty. I had gone to 4 different ponds, because there's not a lot of lakes down in Southern California that I can go to. And just trying. And I never placed first, but being able to have that experience was just really what lit the fire under me, because it's like, wow, this is a whole different world. And the women aren't judging me. They're not looking at me because I'm sweaty and I'm stinky and I smell like a dirty bass. Like, it didn't matter. Like, it just, it's hard to express in words unless you've actually been there. But y'all have like sports when you're growing up. I didn't, because I went to a private school, so we didn't have private funding for that kind of thing. And I longed for that, and I wanted so badly to be part of a team and to showcase what I could do. So I feel like fishing has enabled me to showcase what I can do, and to reach out to kids and show kids, like, get off your iPad, let's go fish. Let me teach you something new. And that has been probably the most rewarding. And then second most rewarding is having a group of female anglers that support and uplift, that are still supporting me and uplifting me. It's amazing.
I love that.
So Rick, when you're thinking, Rick, in the future of, we don't need to have a woman section of fishing, go back and watch what she just said. That's the answer. That's the reality. I would say foster it, build it, grow it, right the wrongs of traditional gender roles that were so, like, I call people out all the time. Oh, cool. So you don't think women need a sport? You don't, they need their own safe space. Then why doesn't your wife fish? Take your best friend that you're married to. Like, why is your wife not fishing? Like, we're the generation that kind of like lost all these things, whether it's grandparents' fault or whatever. We have the chance to change that. If something is fun that my wife likes to do, I'm going to go do that with her because it's fun. Like, I want to do the things that she likes. Same thing that she does with me. Like, she rides motorcycles, she shoots bows, every activity I've ever done, she wants to do that because she's with me. Now, gender roles aside in society, to have the safe space for women just to go and, like you said, not be judged by men or whatever, they're fishing amongst themselves. Do that for the next 100 years. And we're still thousands of years behind where we should have been, but we'll be so much better off. And then at some point, this is the beauty of it. Fishing, a female will win the Angler of the Year on Major League Fishing or whatever fishing tour you follow, because the sport physically can be done just as good by a woman. But traditionally, you talk about towing a boat. How long ago can you go back in history? Like, when did the first female truck driver even get a license to drive a truck? Not that long ago. Talk about backing up a boat, launching a boat, doing all these things that, like, it's historically women just didn't do that. Now women are driving all over the country, towing boats, backing them in, launching them, going fishing. We're probably less than a generation away where a woman is going to win. And then all these girls are going to be like, I want to be like that person. I want to be like Coley. I want to do this. And then that's the cool part.
I think the big question that we all want to know then is, how do they go to the bathroom? Like how, seriously, like, I go stand on the back of the boat. What do you do?
Well, if I'm on somebody's boat, then it's every single opportunity that I have, starting with the time I leave my house. Usually takes me an hour to 3 hours to get to where I'm going. Sometimes I'll pull over. I stop. As soon as we get to the launch, I'm hitting that porta potty at 6:00 in the morning. And then typically I just don't drink anything. And that gets pretty hard in Southern California.
Wait. Because that's what I wanted to see if you got there. This is what people like. I want to slap every guy that just doesn't understand this. You physically dehydrate yourself so you urinate less. That is an understanding that unless you have a wife and you don't get it, and they're sipping and they're not drinking and they're probably not sweating because they're dehydrated just to avoid participating in being in the bucket brigade and peeing in a bucket.
Look,
That's what a lot of women do. They don't physically drink. They risk their health to pee.
I'm not risking my health. I hydrate so much the day before. I'm taking electrolytes the day before. I'm drinking a ton the day before. I get it out before I go. And it's not because I'm afraid to ask. But if I'm a guest on your boat, I'm offering you gas money, I'm bringing you snacks, and I'm going to do the least amount of things that's going to potentially annoy you or not want to bring me back. And that includes bathroom trips. So if I can limit that, and I still have a sip here and there if it's 100 degrees. Of course, when I need to, I will say, hey, I do apologize. When you get around to it, I could really use that outhouse we saw a little ways back. Or if we're passing near one, I'll say, hey, can you do me a favor so I don't have to ask you later when we're not by one? Can you take me up there and I can, quote unquote, make myself go? Because that's what you have to do. I mean, when you're growing up with brothers and we were flying around in my dad's little Cessna 210 and I had to pee every 2 hours, I got in a lot of trouble. So you learn to find ways to hold it. Now, there's women that have learned to master peeing off the side of the boat. I'm not klutzy per se, but if there's a chance I'm going to go overboard, it's going to be with my pants around my ankles and my butt hanging off. So I'd really rather not happen. On the kayak, find a place to beach it and jump off and, find a bush. And
I teased about
sometimes
that. Like, you should be able to fish. Women should get a half an hour extra to fish. That's I just laugh with people. Like women in kayak tournaments. Like guys will just pee off the side of the kayak. I've done it forever. Like in the car, you're teasing. Like
I don't
I
want
haven't.
special treatment. I just want to
Right.
fish.
I know.
Like,
That's the thing. It's like you're willing to. This is the irony of all of it. This is like it's not always gender neutral, gender equal. Women, if you're stopping fishing in a kayak tournament, beaching your kayak and going up in the bushes like my wife has done in tournaments, that's just the reality that you're willing to take that time and sacrifice. It's just as humans, we have to recognize the differences, and it's like celebrate it. Like five boys trying a road trip, we all pee in a bottle. That's just the reality. We're not stopping. But if my wife and daughter need to pee, like we're stopping. It's just part of being a human and understanding we are different. Don't look at those things as a hindrance. And you're a great example. That's the same thing with Kelly. She's like, I don't want 5 minutes head start. I don't want to fish for half an hour. If I have to pee, I have to
no.
pee. But it's just the reality is like every once in a while people need to pause, especially men, and go, oh, that is less convenient. And
Sure.
I was, I'm not saying like to be dehydrated, but my wife all the time will go out and she's like, I don't want to have to pee, so I'm not going to drink. And I'm like, I've never had that thought. Like, I don't have to restrict myself in any way, but that's just a normal thing that women think. It's like, that's crazy. Plus, I don't want to have to
Absolutely.
wait.
I mean,
I don't have to wait in line for the bathroom for 20 minutes at the mall. And I'm like, oh, we just all stand and pee in a trough. Like it's different. And I think people sometimes don't understand there are differences. So it's fun to chat about it.
But enough
something
about
I do want to
peeing.
touch
Go
base
ahead.
on really quick that Chris, you brought up a while back about not having having a designated women's only. I just want to make it clear. I like to fish against the men, as does Kelly. I like to compete against them. I enjoyed an all women's tournament, but that doesn't mean that I'm looking to have that all women's tournament moving forward. I want to fish against you. I want to take you to the finish line and be like, look how big my fish is, Chris. Like, I
It's because you're
absolutely
super
100%.
competitive. Like I don't know if my boat can handle you and Kelly against me because that's what always happens.
I'd
But
like
I'm
to
fine.
see
Like
that. I'd like to see.
it's going to be awesome. So and I totally cherish that about Kelly. Like our local derby will have, and I'm like, they should have a women's category specifically because I understand what it would do for the community because we go and we fish and we have 100 participants and there's no women. And if there is one, it's normally Kelly or maybe the fishing club guy's wife. But she's like, no, I won't enter in it. I want if I'm going to win
It
and beat
will
somebody,
give it, it
she's like,
will
I'm
give
gonna win.
beginner female anglers the confidence to get out there and fish with the men. I will 100% agree with that. It gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like I know what it's like to have this now. So I do agree with that, but I just wanted to go back and clear that up because I didn't want it to be that that's what I was looking for because
Sure.
I like.
All right, let me change the topic for a minute, if I may. You have a love for animals, and anyone that's been on your Instagram page has seen the ducks and the turtles and
The raccoons and the squirrels.
Yeah. Tell me about this.
I was fishing every day during the shutdown because, we couldn't do anything else. And the pond is about 4 minutes from my home. And I got to meet up with a group of guys of various ages, most of them older, from all walks of life. When I say all walks of life, like you would never put the six of us together anywhere. They taught me a lot. And after fishing there every single day, I began to see domestic ducks. So when you see a white duck, that's not a wild duck. That's somebody's pet that they have dumped at the pond and thought, oh, you'll be free and live your best life. Well, guess what? They can't swim half the time. They don't know how to forage for food. They can't fly. That expression, a sitting duck, is because a domestic duck can't fly. So a sitting duck literally is coyotes, predators, people, dogs, and all the things. So I began rescuing ducks, and I did that for a little over 3.5 years until I realized there was one woman responsible for all of the domestic ducks at the pond. And she was snatching eggs and hatching them in an incubator and releasing them before they were even fully feathered. So they would normally drown from the mallards and the males. And once I got that under control, the duck rescue has been a little bit slow. So I turned my focus to wildlife rehabilitation. So I volunteer for the Wildlife Foster Program in Anaheim. And it's always been my dream to have a raccoon, a squirrel, a possum. Don't ask me why. I just think they're cute. And now that I
Possums.
work,
You think possums are cute?
I think the babies are cute and some of the adults can be cute, but they're actually really good for our environment. They eat ticks. They eat over 5,000 ticks a year. They're not dirty. They don't carry rabies. They don't carry leprosy and all the rumors. But once I started working with these animals, they're super fun and cute when they're like this big, but as they get older, they're quite messy and they stink. So I'm trying to advocate for people that have these animals. Oh, look at me. I'm going to have a pet squirrel. I'm going to have this. They don't belong in your home. They belong in the wild. And so being able to rehabilitate these animals that have been hit by a car, or the mother squirrel has passed, or you see a possum in the road, and if you are brave enough to open its pouch and she's dead and she has newborns in there, it's pretty neat to be able to learn how to tube feed them and give them a quality of life, and return them back to the wild. Teach them all the things, how to be a possum, how to be a duck, how to be a raccoon. The skunks I haven't gotten too involved with yet, but
Good.
I plan to.
No, we can do without the skunks.
I love
So,
skunks.
so
They're so cute.
where are the ducks right now?
They're in their 18 and a half foot kennel that I built in the backyard. So it's predator proof, and it took quite a while to construct. It was my own design. My father was a carpenter before he was a dentist, so he helped me with that. I had a female domestic duck that was taken from me a couple of years ago by a coyote. I did get her back, but unfortunately she didn't make it because they used to free range in my backyard, and then I'd put them away at night. But now they have an 18-foot kennel, and they love it so much that when I bring them out 3 or 4 times a day, they decide when they want to go back in, and that's it. They're not coming out. Like they are very happy in there, and they have swimming pools, and they have all different kind of fun things, and they come in the house on rare occasion, but it's not my thing. I don't allow them in the house unless it's like a major storm and I'm having a hard time keeping the area dry.
I think I've seen the ducks in the house before.
Once or twice, but
Once
I
or
mean,
twice.
on the regular, the tortoise comes in when I'm not looking. He knows how to open the screen door, so he'll come in and try to hide.
Where's the craziest
But
place your tortoise has ever hidden?
on top of my monster bass stuff in my closet,
That's
there
a
was
good
hooks
place.
out, everything. I had the sexy cracks, I had the spinner baits, I had the cranks, I had a bunch of stuff out, and he had crawled on top of that with all the hooks out because hadn't put it away yet, and he was sitting up there chilling. I think I even put a picture of it up on my story. I'm like, my tortoise Sparky wants to go fishing.
So when are we going fishing?
You tell me. I think that when we go, we definitely need to go on a boat because our chances will be a lot better. And I don't really know places in LA County. So you tell me when you want to go, and I will take the day off and I will make the drive wherever I need to go, and you and me will fish.
That sounds like a deal. What's your PB?
5 pounds, 5 ounces.
I was gonna say I like my chances. I still do. I mean 5-1, but
I got you beat.
you got me beat.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so happy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not so happy.
I don't even want to know what Chris's is, like 12 pounds.
No, I'm still not double digits, 925. But I think when you go fish, we always do this thing where it's first fish is a point,
Yep.
most fish is a point, and biggest fish is a point. Just you got 3 points that way. If it always breaks the tie. It's pretty easy.
Yeah,
It's
but
just a
she's
fun
gonna
way to
feel
go
bad
fish.
when I win 3-0.
Hey, you know what?
You know
I don't
what?
believe it's gonna
The
happen.
cool
It's not gonna.
The cool thing is that every time I fish with someone, even though there's like this like pretend competition or whatever, I am so happy to see whomever I'm fishing with get a fish. Even if I skunk that day, it kind of sucks that I skunked, but I'm so happy to see somebody else catch a fish. It's not all about just like I have to catch the biggest or the most. When I fish with my brother, it's a competition. He got me into bass fishing, and it is first fish, biggest fish,
I love
most
that.
species, whatever we could possibly do. But if somebody I
wins
fish
that.
with, I want to fish with Rafi. I want to
Right,
see
yeah.
Rafi's first fish.
All right.
I'm
All right.
determined to see that.
All right. I'm gonna make this happen. But you gotta promise me the next time you come on the show, we can take a tour of the ducks.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I want to see all the animals and everything. I want the audience to learn more about you.
Sparky's in his pre-hibernation mode. He's 73 years old. So, Chris, you're in Northern California. You're already pretty cool up there. Today, I think we were at like 69, 73. So he's starting to slow down and he's going in his burrow. He will hibernate in the house for a couple months until we finally reach cooler temperatures because he has to be in 50 degrees or less to hibernate. So I have to keep the AC on until he goes into that, and then I can move him in the garage maybe in January. But he's in a box. He's not roaming my house. That's kind of gross. I wouldn't do that.
I love that. I love that. Well, listen, we'd love to get going to go fishing. We'd love to have you on the show again, and we'd love to have you stick around for this next segment for the clip of the week. Can you stick around for that?
Absolutely.
All right, I'm going to bring in Rafi. I'm going to let Rafi say hello and set up this next clip, and let's see if I can find him.
You found me.
Hi, Rafi.
Hi, I am so excited to talk about like women in the sport of fishing. I can't wait. I think we have a really good show in store for us, and I have a lot of thoughts. I've been taking a bunch of notes. Hi, Coley.
Hi.
Rick, I can't set up the clip because I don't know which one you're showing first. Ice fishing, of course. Oh, okay. So this one, the weather's getting cold, and our good friends up north are getting ready for ice fishing, which has always been intriguing to me until I saw this video, and then I don't think I'm ever going to do it. Stupid question. How do you check the ice like all the way out in the middle of the lake so you don't fall in? Or do you just assume that it's fine?
I think you're supposed to drill it, like, right? Or no?
Just stepping over that open crevasse. Like that.
Yeah,
just,
it's got makes no sense.
No, like at least poke it, stab it, something. That was crazy. I feel like that was done on purpose a little bit. Like that was not a good use of brain power there to step into what looked like a clearly separated area, and it did not look like thick ice. So bad on them. I don't know.
Is a big nope from me because of that. And I mean, I'm pretty sure that he made it, right? Because otherwise, like, how else would they recover the footage?
But tell me, you wouldn't ice fish like in a yurt or like a little cozy cabin over the ice with like a couch and a heater and some drinks and snacks, and you have a little hole? Like that's like Kelly's dream is to fish.
I wouldn't know where to go to the bathroom. There's no boat to hang off of.
Okay, so Rocky's a little bougie. You need to make sure it's a little bit more comfortable than that. He needs an old fashioned. He needs something really warm, maybe some cushions. He needs some, he's a little bougie.
By the way, you had me at old fashioned. I would definitely go.
I know.
The only thing that I would really require are like some ice scouts that would go out into the middle and jump around. And if
when they drag your little vessel out with their car and they park it and leave it, and it's this big, huge tent or canopy or whatever. Yeah, let somebody else go first. All you can say is have somebody else walk in front of you. That's how you test the ice. You just go second. It's fine.
Yeah, just go second. That's funny.
It's easy.
All right, and then the second one, is this real or is this staged?
How many do you have now? Be free!
Fake.
Yeah, there's a bunch of these videos floating around, and that was probably like the most well done that I had seen. But I don't know. Do you really get that excited that you lose your mind on that tiny little fish that you're just going to throw your phone? And also, like, what was he filming with? Unless of course he had a GoPro.
That's true.
I'm going fake. But it's
Yeah.
okay. Good attempt at some
Fake.
banter, some humor. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm going fake too. All right, and that's all I got. Those are my clips of the week. Oh, there's more clips?
Nope.
There could be.
No more clips.
No more clips. No more fish.
All right, Rafi.
Yeah, I do want to point something out though, for talking about the differences between men and women in the fishing space, which I don't know. I think that having specific leagues, maybe I'm not female, so I don't know, but it just sounds dumb to me because everyone, okay, except for peeing, it's kind of the same. But I've noticed that all three males on this show are using their actual names, and the only female is not. That's kind of telling.
What's it telling?
It's telling that, like, perhaps being popular for whatever reason, if you're a female, it comes with some risk, and you need to take
Absolutely.
some precautions that males not only don't need to take, but also don't even think about.
Absolutely. 100%. And that's all it's ever been. I have to choose my words wisely. People showing up at places that I work, at my home, uninvited, unaware that they knew where I lived or worked. People showing up on, I don't have a Facebook account that's fishing related. I have one that is for my family because I have family in multiple states. I'm not on it very often, but I had a gentleman, I'll use that term lightly, who contacted me when Instagram and Facebook joined from Meta. And in my inbox, he looked like the Unabomber and Jeffrey Dahmer had a baby. And all he wrote was, "Found you." And I was like, wait, what? So yeah, I had to take some extra precautions. That is the name that I go by. It's the name I was given by my niece when she was first born, Auntie Cole, and then Cole turned into Coley as they got older. So that's how I introduce myself in real life, not just on Instagram or social media life. I don't like Nikki. If you call me Nikki, you can get away with it once. If you call me Nikki twice, we're going to have some words. So I figure if I just introduce myself as the nickname I like to be called, it's much easier. So that's the second reason. There's only two people in the world that can call me Nikki, and my older brother is one of them, simply out of the fact that I just respect him so much. If that's what he wants to call me, it doesn't bother me. But anyone else, not so much.
Challenge accepted.
Yeah. Oh, Rocky. Trust
Oh my
me.
gosh, Robbie,
You-
the whole time I'm just biting my tongue. Okay, Nikki, but I never said it out loud. But that's okay.
You think that those 30 little plastic ducks that I hid in your backpack in iCast was just the tip of the iceberg? If you want to play this game, we can play.
I can't believe that those were in my backpack for like my work bag, mind you,
How
for
did
a
he not
month.
say anything? So
Yeah.
for all those listening, I took little tiny plastic ducks that I bought on Amazon. I think there was like 200 of them. And to every person, yeah, it's silly, but to every person that made their way to the Grande Bass booth, which was kind of located in the farthest corner of iCast, it was a trek. Anyone that came over to say hi and wanted to meet me, I was just like, here's a little duck to remind you of me. And like later on when you're like changing and it falls out, you'll laugh, right? Because how silly, I'm handing out plastic ducks. So I was, I think Rafi knows this, I'm not sure. I was a little emotional on Friday when I went to leave because Matt and Rafi and I had created this really fun bond.
Yep.
And there's a video where Rafi, Matt, and I are in a truck going to Walmart to purchase, I think it was the rod dowels, Rafi.
Mhm.
And
Yep.
we were dancing and we finally got Matt to dance with us. And it's like, all right, we're going to have fun. So on the last day, I had grown attached to these two because they're just amazing human beings. And there was no weirdness being a woman, and they were respectful and they were smack talkers. And we just had a really good time. So I put these handful of plastic ducks in Rafi's backpack when he wasn't looking, and it made me giggle so that when I said goodbye to him, I didn't tear up because I was like, I'm gonna miss you, and I was like super in my head emotional about it because I really, really did enjoy him, and he was super, super fun. So I'm glad that I have a new friend, 2 new friends actually.
Yeah. And my daughter was with me when I got your text about the ducks. I pulled them out of the bag and she looked at me. She's like, what are those? And it has turned into us hiding ducks. Well, she'll hide ducks around the house to see how long it will take for me to
love
find them. And
I
now
love it.
everywhere that we go, we're like putting ducks. So we have this like pastry shop that we like to stop at together, and there are ducks there. Rick, as we speak, he's found 2 of them. There are 5 more ducks hidden in his house.
Well, you were with Rick when I sent you the text message. I was like, did you ever find the ducks in your backpack? And you're like, I just found a pink duck in my pocket at Rick's house. How did you get that in there?
Yeah.
It's like,
Oh,
no,
it was
in
on the
folder.
chair at Rick's house, and I was so confused. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. The ducks live on.
Love it.
All right.
Go Dodgers.
Go Dodgers. All right, Rafi.
See you, Rafi.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Everyone's fired up for the Dodgers.
I'm not a Dodgers fan. Sorry.
No, they're playing. Sorry.
Yeah,
you
game
lost me.
3
Lost me there.
just started. So, anyway, well, listen, I'm looking forward to fishing with you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I had a really great time. And
Thank you.
I will make sure we get something on the schedule after tomorrow. It'll be my first time with the camera guy. We're gonna go out. We're gonna make sure we're all set up and good. I want the camera guy to get a lay of the land in terms of being on a boat. And because he's like, well, yeah, why don't we bring like 6 people? And I'm like, well, let's get you on a bass boat first, and we'll see. So
That's going to be amazing. I cannot wait for you to land your next PB. I will be your biggest cheerleader.
thank you so much, and thanks for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. And
Thanks, you guys. Appreciate you.
all right, we'll
Hey,
talk soon.
before you run, how do people get a hold of you? How do they find, not to find you? I want to just make sure. How can they follow you and support you?
Oh, on
Just if somebody's listening, yeah, we want to make sure we're doing this properly for the podcast. So, what do we got? How do
on
they get a hold of you?
Instagram, it's cupcake_Coley. On TikTok, I believe it's casting Coley. But then Coley Cupcake in parentheses. There's about 12 fake accounts. So the one that says Coley Cupcake in parentheses is me. And then on YouTube, it is Cupcake Coley as well. And then Threads, Cupcake Coley as well. Cupcake_Coley for Threads.
Cool. All right. Well, big, longtime supporter. Love what you're doing. Keep at it. It's cool to see other influencers out there. Really, I mean, the word influencer, you're influencing the next generation of female anglers. So we appreciate that and keep at it.
Chris, real quick, you were technically my first sponsor.
Oh, well,
you and Kelly sent me the socks, and I still have them and love them and wear them every winter. I can only wear them in winter because it's the only time that it's cold enough to wear them. But you guys were technically my first sponsor. That's so cool. Thank you.
Hey, love to support, love to see you out there fishing. Keep doing what you're doing. And I'm sure I can't wait till you come up and get beat on the boat and lose to fishing. But, that's what it's all about.
Bring it.
Cool. All right. It's going to be fun.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Take care, you guys.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Great show. She's a great guest.
That's awesome. It's cool to see the inside of like her passion. I'm always curious of like how she got involved in fishing. I think that's the story that sometimes it goes untold from women's perspective because there's so many different ways to help. I didn't get back to the AI thing. Is that the number one way to get more women fishing is to invite women into the sport? That's just the reality of getting people to do anything. And understanding that's kind of a responsibility on all of us. She did mention something, I love it, where she's like, I don't want anybody else out here. I want to make a shirt that says fishing sucks, don't try it. Just because that's popular in the world of surfing. And it says surfing sucks, don't try it. Just because it's a selfish view as I want to fish and I don't want anyone else around me at any time. And that's not where any of us are really saying. That wasn't what she was saying. But the reality to counteract this whole conversation of why there's so few women, the opportunity is for all of us to invite people, to influence them, to invite females, and not just females, to invite other friends and men. Gender doesn't matter. Bass fishing, for the first time ever, the amount of licenses purchased by bass anglers went down this last year. And that's an interesting understanding of the numbers of people engaged in outdoor activities that by perception by us is healthy. We all need to do our part as we grow this thing. So what a cool guest. What a cool, I mean, she's an infectious energy. Can't wait till you guys get to go fish. It's going to be a fun thing to be involved in. So
Yeah, it's going to be great. Looking forward to
good
it.
stuff. Yeah, really cool.
All right, man. Well, listen, have a great night, and we'll see you next week.
All right, we'll see you too. Take care, Rick. Bye.
Bye. All right, guys. So I got to tell you, she's great. I've never met her in person, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to going fishing with her, and really getting to know her. She's definitely someone that the industry should look towards as an example. I mean, she's just trying to be as authentic as she can, and she wants, her performance to show it, and that's admirable. That's admirable. And we need more women in fishing because it just helps us as a whole. So, just a reminder, you can always catch us on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and if you like what you saw, please give us a thumbs up. Really appreciate you guys being here. I want to once again say, for anyone that tuned in late, if you sent me your AOL.com address, I sent you something in the mail. Cast the Nasties, I saw your text message today. Definitely interested in continuing that conversation. And I do think we should get to the golden ticket. And as you know, your box has a golden ticket. And it's individually numbered. If you're missing one, just reach out to support@monsterbass.com. And we'll get you a number. And when I call your number, if it's yours, send me an email at monsterbass or marketing@monsterbass.com. Make sure you send me a picture of you, the ticket. Make sure you send your phone number and address so I can get a hold of you. We want to make sure we get your prizes. So tonight's golden ticket number is 6817. So if you've got golden ticket number 6817, it's your lucky day. Email me at marketing@monsterbass.com. I did see a couple of questions about boxes. There's a delay. There's no question there's a delay. You've got the storms. You've got COVID. You've got so much going on in the Southeast. I apologize. It's 100% beyond my control. I mean, we couldn't get a FedEx pickup for a few days. The printer and everyone had COVID. The warehouses, everyone's had COVID. It's that time of year, and I apologize. I did get confirmation that everyone's boxes should be out by end of day tomorrow. So if you're wondering where your box is or where your notification is, you'll be getting one. Thank you for your patience. I can't control Mother Nature. And so thank you. We'll have a great show for you next week. I'm going fishing tomorrow. It's going to be a banger, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. So we'll see you next week. Thanks a lot for tuning in.